Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, text number 27. Namaha Akinchana Vittaya Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha
Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha.
Synonyms. Namaha, all obeisances unto you. Akinchana Vittaya, on the property of the materially impoverished. Nivritta, completely transcendental to the actions of material modes. Guna, material modes. Vrittaya, Vrittaye, affection. Atma Ramaya, one who is self-satisfied. Shantaya, the most gentle. Kaivalya Pataye, onto the master of the monists. Namaha, bowing down. Translation offered by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamy Prabhupada Ki. Translation. My obeisances are unto you who are the property of materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the modes of nature. You are self-satisfied. Therefore, you are the most gentle and the master of the monists. Please repeat the translation. My obeisances are unto you, property of the impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied. And therefore, you are the most gentle and the master of the monists. Purport. A living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. Therefore, a living being cannot be, in real sense of the term, a renouncer. Renounces something for gaining something more valuable. A student sacrifices his childish proclivities to gain better education. A servant gives up his job for a better job. Similarly, a devotee renounces the material world not for nothing but for something tangible in spiritual value. Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and others gave up their worldly pomp and prosperity for the sake of service of the Lord. They were big men in the worldly sense. The Goswamis were ministers in the government service of Bengal, and Srila Raghunath Dasa Goswami was the son of a big jamindar of his time. But they left everything to gain something superior to what they previously possessed. The devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. There is a nice story about Srila Sanatana Goswami. He had a touchstone, and this stone was left in a pile of refuse. A needy man took it, but later on wondered why the valuable stone was kept in such a neglected place. He therefore asked Sanatana for the most valuable thing, and then he was given the holy name of the Lord. Akinchana means one who has nothing to give materially. A factual devotee or Mahatma does not give anything material to anyone because he has already left all material assets. He can, however, deliver the supreme asset, namely the personality of Godhead, because he is the only property of the factual devotee. The touchstone of Sanatana Goswami, which was thrown in the rubbish, was not the property of the Goswami. Otherwise, it would not have been kept in such a place. A specific example is given for the neophyte devotee just to convince them that material hankerings and spiritual advancement go ill together. Unless one is able to see everything as spiritual in relation with the Supreme Lord, one must always distinguish between spirit and matter. A spiritual master like Srila Sanatana Goswami, although personally able to see everything as a spiritual, set this example for us only because we have no such spiritual vision. Advancement of material vision or material civilization is a great stumbling block for spiritual advancement. Such material advancement entangles the living being in the bondage of material body, followed by all sorts of material miseries. Such material advancement is called anartha, or things not wanted. Actually, this is so. In the present context of material advancement, one uses lipstick at a cost of 50 cents, and there are so many unwanted things which are all products of material consumption of life. By diverting attention to so many unwanted things, human energy is spoiled without achievement of spiritual realization, the prime necessity of human life. The attempt to reach the moon is another example of spoiling energy, because even if the moon is reached, the problem of life will not be solved. The devotees of the Lord are called akinchanas because they have practically no material assets. The material assets are all products of three modes of material nature. They foil spiritual energy, and thus the less we possess such products of material nature, the more we have a good chance for spiritual progress. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no direct connection with material activities. All his acts and deeds, which are exhibited even in this material world, are spiritual and without affection for the modes of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that all his acts, even his appearance and disappearance, in and out of the material world are transcendental, and one who knows this perfectly shall not take his birth again in the material world but will go back to Godhead. The material disease is due to hankering after the lording it over material nature. This hankering is due to an interaction of the three modes of material nature, and neither the Lord nor the devotees have attachment for such false enjoyment. Therefore, the Lord and the devotee are called Nivritta Gunavritti, the perfect Nivritta Gunavritti, the Supreme Lord, because he never becomes attracted by the modes of material nature, whereas the living beings have such a tendency. Some of them are entrapped by the illusory attraction of material nature. Because the Lord is the property of the devotees are the property of the Lord reciprocally. The devotees are certainly transcendental to the modes of material nature. This is the natural conclusion. Such unalloyed devotees are distinct from the mixed devotees who approach the Lord for mitigation of miseries and poverty, or because of inquisitiveness and speculation. The unalloyed devotees and the Lord are transcendently attached to one another. For others, the Lord has nothing to reciprocate, and therefore he is called Atma Rama, self-satisfied. Self-satisfied as he is the master of all monists who seek to merge into the existence of the Lord. Such monists merge within the personal effulgence of the Lord, called the Brahma Jyoti, but the devotees enter into the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, which are never to be misunderstood as material. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshmena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama We are reading the verses from the chapter named Prayers by Queen Kunti. In this portion of the Bhagavatam, very exalted prayers offered by Kunti have been delineated. This verse, what we are seeing, where she is offering obeisances to Lord and saying, you are the property of a materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and the master of the monists. So this is actually a sequel to the previous prayer she has offered. What she had offered is, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is in the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So she has expressed a couple of prayers where she is saying, if somebody is blessed with opulences, may it be good education, may it be good bodily opulence, bodily beauty, or may it be the wealth that one may possess. If somebody has this, generally we appreciate. But here we see Kunti is saying these are kind of disqualifications, because one cannot approach Lord feelingly. Having possessed all these qualities, generally people tend to have a kind of satisfaction, and with that there is a kind of disqualification to approach Lord feelingly. And in the same sequence, in this words, she is saying, you are the property of a materially impoverished. What does it mean? Is very nicely given, delineated by Prabhupada with a nice example. A living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. If I say, okay, let's read this. Therefore, a living being cannot be, in real sense, a term, a renouncer. A living being renounces something for gaining something more valuable. This often comes in many people's questions when we go out and preach about Krishna consciousness. They wonder, why have you given up? Because they see us that we were possessing some qualities or some designations in the society, and they see that, and they have this question, always wondering, why have you given up that kind of designation in the society? But as we tell that there is something higher to understand, but they are not convinced so much. Because the reason why they have not convinced about our reasoning about giving up some designations in the material world is explained very nicely by Prabhupada here. Here Prabhupada says, the devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. If you tell them, I have developed some attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord, it is not convincing for that matter that how can you give up some material prosperity for the lotus feet of the Lord? They don't know what is that treasure. That's why Prabhupada uses this word treasure. When is this word treasure used? Generally when it is very much secret, isn't it? So it is not open to all. Krishna consciousness is not openly available. That's where Prabhupada very nicely says, the devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have the very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. Since they have got that iota or a little attraction towards that, the material designations apparently, or over a period of time, they become illogical or not so much aspiring. So that's what is the prayer here. You are approachable by somebody impoverished in the sense of materially. So Prabhupada writes, how can we become renouncers as such? What do we possess? Is the question. Very nicely Prabhupada says, a student sacrifices his childish proclivities to gain better education. Isn't it? We see many people, although they want to watch cricket, although they want to play cricket, although they want to spend some time on their video games, when exams come by, what do? They keep them aside. For what? Shri Radha Govinda ki. So what is the reason they are keeping them aside? Even though there is interest for them, they have some, they know that I have to give this exam and I have to do this well. So they will give up their, childish proclivities. And then a servant gives up his job for a better job. Sometimes somebody works somewhere with some designations. He gives up that and goes for a better thing. Even though it may be comfortable to them for whatever they were doing, but he wants something big in the material terms. Similarly, a devotee renounces the material world not for nothing, but for something tangible in spiritual value. So a devotee, he is also giving up, just like a student is giving up his proclivities of gaming and all that, but for something higher in, not in spiritual, but for something in terms of material. But a spiritualist, a devotee, he gives up. Okay? But for what reason? Not for attaining something more material, but for a spiritual value. But this spiritual value, as we have understood, is not very easily available. It's a treasure. Who can open that treasure? Is only by the Supreme Lord's pure devotee. The treasure is accessible is only to pure devotees of the Lord. Here are the examples Prabhupada gives. The Goswamis were the ministers of the government service of Bengal, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of a big jamindar at this time. But they left everything to gain something superior to what they have previously possessed. Imagine a big jamindar is there and he gives up. Again a doubt comes to a normal guy, right? Why did he give up? What was that? If you tell the answer, if Raghunath Das Goswami answered, actually in fact he answered his parents that I am looking forward for the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They all thought, something mad this guy is. I am giving him the wealth and where is he running away? Because their parents had not had the access to this treasure house. They were like that. Similarly, many people may wonder, why is this that what is so pleasing about lotus feet of Lord Krishna that one gives up some so-called material pleasure. In fact, we will see in the later part of the purport, it is actually not giving up. It is using in the right perspective. So, here is a very good example. In the very nice pastime that Sanatana Goswami had instructed, a needy person. Once there was a devotee of Shiva. He happens to go and pray Lord Shiva that I'm in need, can you bless me with some material opulence or something like that. Generally people do go asking for favor in terms of material opulence, or sometimes exam come, then students also go. Let me do this exam well, right? Or if somebody is in need of money, they will go to Lord and pray, let me get this money, right? So whenever there is some need, they do remember Lord, but that's not the highest devotion. Lord cannot be only when you approached, only when there is a need. No, that's for a neophyte. But for an advanced devotee, he is always engaged in devotional service. So the needy guy, he goes to Shiva and asks, I need something. Lord Shiva knows what a person has come for. He is a Mahadev, he is the greatest of devotees. So he says, go to Vrindavan, meet Sanatana Goswami and tell your need, and he will do the needy. And as instructed by Shiva, this guy goes to Vrindavan, searches out for Sanatana Goswami and asks, I have been sent by Lord Shiva, I know you can give me and you can fulfill the desire. And having understood the need, Sanatana Goswami understood that what has he come for. Okay? So he says, there is a garbage outside, go there will be a stone, and then take that, and that will fetch you your needy things. He wasn't convinced upfront, but he went ahead, took that and came to him, and then Sanatana Goswami said, okay, wherever you touch this, any iron, it turns to gold. Then he was excited. Okay, very interesting. Then he touched a couple of places and then he was happy. Okay, let's go. On the way, something struck him. Generally it would not stuck because he's already illusioned with gold. Glittering things are generally illusory. But by the Lord's mercy and Sanatana Goswami's mercy, he started wondering, if this was the best thing that that he can give me, why was it kept unattended or in some place of garbage? This came into his mind. Generally it would not come, but he was fortunate enough, so he came back asking, Sanatana Goswami, I am very pleased, you have given me the most precious thing, but I have some question. If this was the best thing that you could give me, why was this kept unattended or in some garbage? Then Sanatana Goswami says, Sanatana Goswami understood that he is little more inquisitive. I will give you more precious than this, provided you throw this stone in the nearby river and come back. And now he is in perplexity. He has got it, he has tested it, it is turning into gold, and on the other hand he is saying he is ready to give something more precious. Then with hard heart he goes, throws that stone into the river and comes back and says, yes, now I am ready for whatever more precious that I would want you to give me. Then what does Sanatana Goswami give him? The holy name of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This is the initiation he gives. He says this is the most valuable thing that anybody ever can possess. Anything material is supposed to end one day. The spiritual value is taking you to the eternity. It will lead you to the eternal devotional service to the Lord, and it never vanquishes and never ends. So with that, he becomes initiated and he becomes enlightened and he becomes a great devotee of the Lord. With the mercy of pure devotees like Sanatana Goswami, a person can open the treasure house. Sanatana Goswami and all the Goswamis in their disciple section, Prabhupada, also opened the treasure for all of us. Otherwise, this treasure of Hare Krishna mantra is locked. Only the pure devotees have that access. And here a very interesting analogy is given. Unless one is able to see everything as spiritual in relation with the Supreme Lord, one must always distinguish between spirit and matter. A spiritual master like Sanatana Goswami, although personally able to see everything as spiritual, set an example for us only because we have no such spiritual vision. I will read a couple of sentences before. Okay. The touchstone of Sanatana Goswami, which was thrown in the rubbish, was not the property of the Goswami. Otherwise, it would not have been kept in such a place. The specific example is given for the neophyte devotees just to convince them that material hankering and spiritual advancement go ill together. Here the point that we have to understand is, it is told if somebody wants to grow spiritually, one has to come down on their material possessions. Because if somebody is aspiring for something material and at the same time aspiring for spiritual, they will not go well each other. In one hand, you are asking, Lord, I want to be at your lotus feet, I want the most perfect thing. On the other hand, you want to have something materially advanced, materially possessions like good wealth, good job, good money. These don't go well to each other. So, that's why Kunti Maharani is saying, you are available for a materially impoverished. For a person who has given up this kind of material prosperity. He is not aspiring for something material. A devotee is aspiring for something spiritual. For them, these are available. So, Prabhupada says very nicely that if somebody is aspiring for both, they are not very intelligent people, it seems. Because they don't go well each other. For the reason, Lord knows what has to be given to the devotee. If somebody thinks, okay, whatever comes is the mercy of the Lord, materially or spiritually, then he is pious. If he gives everything, all the credit to the Lord and devotees, pure devotees, then he is intelligent. Then he is pious. If he thinks, okay, I want this also, I am aspiring for this also, then it's not good. If it comes on its own accord, then it's good. Because Lord knows what the devotee needs. And if he gives more than required, he knows there is a danger of misusing. Say for example, a normal boy is given 100 crore. Will he use it or misuse it? We all know it. Similarly, Lord knows it should be given or not. So a devotee knows if it has to come, it will come and I will be happy. If it has to not come, I am still happy because Lord knows, I don't know how to use that. So they don't go, any devotee shouldn't aspire for something which is materially progressive. He should only aspire for spiritual things and material things will follow if it is required. So this is the crux that Kunti Maharani is praying here, that we just have to fix up at the treasure house of the lotus feet of the Lord, and then Lord will bless whatever is destined and He will take us and thread us to the path of pure devotional service. Okay, one last point I would like to mention. Okay, so here Sanatana Goswami, when he, generally here it is told, Lord is the property of a pure devotee. Because they are opening the treasure house of Lord's feet. So pure devotees are having the treasure key. And that means that Lord is the property of pure devotees. Because they are able to give. You will be able to give only if it is yours. So in the sense that Lord becomes purchased only by pure devotion. And that is exemplified by pure devotees like Prabhupada. So in the sense, if Sanatana Goswami had this touchstone, it was a material thing, then how could he be accessing spiritual lotus feet of the Lord if he had this material possession? In the sense, actually he did not possess, in the sense, it was only to show that for the neophytes, something is more valuable than the gold is appealing. But otherwise, for a pure devotee, they don't distinguish between gold and a stone. Normal stone and a gold also. Both are material in one sense. So in that sense, Sanatana Goswami, even though he had possessed, if he had in the vision, he would have kept it nicely. He did not care it in the sense that he was seeing that as a material thing. Just for the sake of understanding, for neophytes like all of us, this example is given, or it was in the treasure of Sanatana Goswami. But we know where he had kept. So in the sense that they are always absorbed in the thought of Krishna consciousness, that they never need any of these material possessions for their daily livelihood or whatever. So with this we would complete. So this shows how a spiritual master or a pure devotee can open the treasure house for all of us. Okay, any questions you have? We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
శ్రీకృష్ణుణ్ణి చేరుకోవడానికి, కృష్ణ భక్తిని అందరికీ అందించటానికి బృందావనం వైపు ఉరకలేస్తున్న యమునోత్రి. విష్ణుపాదమే తన పుట్టినిల్లుగా కైలాసం చేరుకోవడానికి పరుగులు తీస్తున్న గంగోత్రి. కురుక్షేత్ర ఘోరహత్యా పాపం శంకరుణ్ణి శాంతపరచడం లక్ష్యంగా పాండవులు నిర్మించిన కేదార్నాథ్. సమస్త సాధు పుంగవులకు, ఋషులకు, ఆధ్యాత్మిక సాధనకు స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చే నరనారాయణులను నడయాడిన ప్రదేశం బద్రీనాథ్. శ్రీకృష్ణుణ్ణి చేరుకోవడానికి, కృష్ణ భక్తిని అందరికీ అందించటానికి బృందావనం వైపు ఉరకలేస్తున్న యమునోత్రి. విష్ణుపాదమే తన పుట్టినిల్లుగా కైలాసం చేరుకోవడానికి పరుగులు తీస్తున్న గంగోత్రి. కురుక్షేత్ర ఘోరహత్యా పాపం శంకరుణ్ణి శాంతపరచడం లక్ష్యంగా పాండవులు నిర్మించిన కేదార్నాథ్. సమస్త సాధు పుంగవులకు, ఋషులకు, ఆధ్యాత్మిక సాధనకు స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చే నరనారాయణులను నడయాడిన ప్రదేశం బద్రీనాథ్.